Welcome back, everyone, to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah.
Today, we're doing a really fast-paced deep dive, looking purely at the tech specs for two big players in next-gen AR, the XREAL 1 Pro and the RayNeo Air 3s Pro.
That's right. We're digging into the source material, the spec sheets, really trying to extract the core technical differences.
Yep, the mission is simple. Figure out which glass wins in which category based only on the hardware facts. No fluff.
So if you're trying to decide between them, this should give you a clear technical picture.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I think we have to start with the visuals, the display showdown, because, well, RayNeo seems to be pushing really hard on media specs here.
Oh, absolutely. They're leading with some pretty eye-catching numbers. A huge 201-inch virtual screen projected from 6 meters.
Compared to XREAL's 171-inch screen, but that's from closer 4 meters, so maybe not a direct size comparison, but still.
Exactly. And resolution-wise, RayNeo lists 4K UHD. That's 3840 by 2160. XREAL sticks with FHD, full HD.
Okay, so a definite resolution difference there. Both seem to hit that 120 hertz refresh rate, though, which is good.
Right, smooth motion is key. But the big one, the spec they're shouting about, is brightness. RayNeo claims 1200 nits.
Wow, 1200. They're calling it the world's brightest AR glasses.
And XREAL, they top out at 700 nits, which is still bright, mind you, but a big gap.
Though XREAL does mention their advanced electrochromic dimming, so maybe it's less about peak brightness and more about controlling the light.
That could be the play. It's a classic trade-off, right? RayNeo's 1200 nits is fantastic for bright environments, probably great outdoors.
But you got to assume that chews through battery faster.
Probably. Whereas XREAL, with lower peak brightness but maybe better dimming in their optics, they might be aiming for efficiency and overall visual comfort.
Yeah, speaking of optics, since XREAL isn't winning on raw resolution or brightness numbers, they highlight their X-Prism optics.
Right, and a 57-degree field of view. The idea is to make that FHD projection feel sharp and large while still letting you see the real world clearly.
Okay, so different philosophies on the display front. What about processing and, how these things track your movement?
This is where XRL puts its focus. They have a dedicated self-developed chip, the X1 spatial computing chip.
Ah, okay, so custom silicon just for this.
Exactly, and that chip gives them native 3DOF tracking right out of the box.
3DOF, that's tracking your head's tilt, roll, and yaw. Right, so rotation.
Precisely, and they boast a really low 3-millisecond motion-to-photon latency.
Which is crucial. That low latency stops you from feeling sick when you move your head.
That dedicated chip helps with stability and enables their different viewing modes too. Anchor, follow, ultra-wide, side view, that kind of thing.
But for full room scale, the 6DOF tracking, you still need an extra bit, right?
Yes, that needs the separate XROI accessory for full spatial anchoring. So native 3DOF, optional 6DOF.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk comfort and maybe eye health. These are glasses, after all.
Yeah, important stuff. XRL is pretty light, listed at 87 grams, and they have two IPD sizes, M and L plus software adjustment.
IPD being interpupillary distance, making sure the lenses line up with your eyes.
Correct. RayNeo also focuses on eye health, maybe even more explicitly. They have dual 2 SUD certifications for low blue light and flicker-free.
Dual certification, interesting. How do they manage the flicker-free part?
They mention high-frequency PWM dimming 3,840 hertz. That high frequency basically makes the pulsing backlight, which controls brightness, invisible to the human eye, reducing strain.
Okay, that's a nice technical touch. RayNeo also throws in a prescription frame sample, right, so you can get lenses made.
Yeah, handy for glasses wearers.
All right, sound. Another battleground. XREAL has partnered up.
Yep, sound by Bose. Professionally tuned, custom sound chamber design, leveraging a big audio name.
And RayNeo.
They went with their own system, a self-developed quad-speaker setup, but they have an interesting feature called Whisper Mode.
Whisper mode. For privacy.
Seems like it. Designed for private spatial audio, so people nearby hopefully can't hear what you're listening to. A different approach to Bose's tuning focus.
Okay, makes sense. Finally, connectivity. How do these plug into things?
Both rely heavily on USB-C, which is great for modern devices, new iPhones, Steam Deck, laptops, PCs.
Standard stuff now, thankfully.
But here's a key difference in the box. The RayNeo listing explicitly includes a USB-C adapter bundle.
Oh, what's that adapter do?
It offers 4K at 60 Hz video output and 100W power delivery charging. It seems aimed squarely at connecting to consoles, older PCs, things that might need HDMI or more power.
Ah, so RayNeo gives you that versatility out of the box, which implies with XORI,
You'd likely need to buy an extra adapter like their beam or hub accessory if you want to connect to HDMI sources, so a potential extra cost there.
Right, okay, so putting it all together, what's the takeaway here? It feels like a choice between two very different priorities.
I think that's exactly it. RayNeo is pushing the bleeding edge of screen specs, highest brightness, 4K resolution, and including adapters for maximum media compatibility. It's very screen-centric.
Whereas XREAL seems more focused on the integrated AR platform. They have the custom chip for tracking, the Bose partnership for polished audio, the focus on optics maybe over raw pixels.
It's platform versus pixels in a way.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, the real question for you, the listener, isn't just which screen is bigger or brighter, it's more fundamental.
Yeah, do you prioritize that absolute top-tier visual fidelity and brightness for media consumption, maybe needing that included adapter bundle
Yeah.
that leans towards RayNeo?
Or do you value the potential smoothness and stability of a dedicated spatial computing chip, native 3D OF, maybe better audio tuning with Bose, even if the screen specs aren't quite as maxed out? That points towards XREAL,
That's the core technical trade-off based on the specs we have.
a fascinating comparison. All right, that wraps up our deep dive into the specs of the XREAL 1 Pro versus the RayNeo Air 3's Pro.
Remember, specs only tell part of the story, but hopefully this technical breakdown helps clarify the hardware differences. To find the latest prices and deals, definitely check out the links in the description below.
And please, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive here on Tech Talk Central. Thanks for joining us.